Hello and welcome everybody to Action Theater as we continue film noir. This is not really a noir, but it's a noir inspired. I'll say these last two films this week, next week are film noir inspired at least. This one is Dick Tracy today from 1990, and our buddy, a friend, YouTube Ronan, will read us the synopsis. Uh-oh. Connie says there's a. Connie says there's the streams. Your streams aren't showing up. Like like I see them. I mean, I found them. They're there, Connie. Yeah, I see you found it. Okay. Well, deleted. Would you like to read the synopsis? No.
Uh, okay. Now I can hear you. All right.
Okay.
What are we over on? All right. Well, let's see. This is based, of course, on the Chester Gould comic strip. They have a police detective, Dick Tracy, and he's doing battle, of course, with the mob led by Big Boy Caprice, who's has this big plan to take over the city, and along the way he meets some pretty interesting characters.
Yes.
So yeah, of course, one of the first that he runs into is the kid, Charlie Korsmo, who's this orphan. Yeah, you have his girlfriend, who's Tess Trueheart, who wants him to retire because she thinks things are getting a little too dangerous out there in the streets, and take a desk job, which he doesn't want to do, and then he gets distracted by a singer named Breathless Mahoney, and we're kind of off and running from there. So let's see. So this was 1990, big hit. Lots of merchandise. Yeah, directed by
Warren
Beatty.
It has a great soundtrack. Of course, Madonna did most of the soundtrack, but there's other good tunes and melodies on there. Starring Charlie Gizmo, Gene Headley, Al Pacino, Dustin Hoffman as Mumbles, William Forsythe, Charles Dunning, Mandy Paquin as 88 Keys. I forgot that.
AKA Niga Montoya. Yep.
Yeah.
He's in this.
Paul Savino also was in from the what's the other movie that's Martin Scorsese? What's that?
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas. Yeah. Hey, it's good. Dick Van Dyke in it. So, are you guys ready to watch? It's been a while since I've seen this. Since it's been since '90, and this is the one I've been wanting to do for a while. So, as much as we would love to show them to you here on YouTube, we are restricted from copyright law and the rules and regulation of YouTube. So if you're here
Mhm.
trying to watch the film and saying, "Where's the film? Where's the film?" Well, we put commentary in there to let you know this is commentary, but we are playing the movie live. Sorry if we can't show it to you when you guys come here after the fact. You will have to find your own copy and find it on streaming forms. Tubi and Pluto TV is always a good one to probably find it on. Also, I'm pretty sure it's been on like AMC a few times. Anyhow, without further ado, if you guys want to follow us over to the screening room, should be pinned right there. That's our room where you can watch along with us.
Mhm.
I'll head over there now and push play. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, go.
Mhm. Rated PG with a runtime of 1 hour and 45 minutes. Touchtone Pictures
Anybody
logo.
anybody remember the radio serials that they used to have on Dick Tracy?
Mhm. Now, remember, this was right after Batman '89, so
Yep.
there was a it was a perfect time to release a movie like this one.
Surge of comic book films that came along after that.
Mhm.
Putty Cat. Oh, so mean. I love these makeup jobs here.
Right.
Yeah. little, little, little face. That's a perfect name.
And of course, here's William Forsythe as Flat Top and Edo Ross is Itchy, and they are the enforcers for Big Boy Caprice, who is Al Pacino's character.
You're joining us. We're just 4 minutes underway.
Mhm. Well, let's see how long that lasts.
Thank you, Connie, for being a member for 26 full months. You are a rock star. Thank you, Connie Clary, for being a supporter of Deleted C's channel and yours truly. Thank you very much, Connie. We really appreciate you.
Mhm. Do you want to say hello to a few people who've joined us here in the chat? The first was Gambit First. Genial and Simons is here. Faithful Blue Wrench channel member, the Bird Woman of YouTube. Watch out for channel Fluff Chick Productions, Connie Clary. Friend of the channel, Andrea Black. Tune the News. Lieutenant Giratina. Creator of the 10 Word Review. Host of Films with Friends, Big Op Presents.
Yeah.
Acres of Movies is with us. She Boosh McFadden in the Cosme chat, as well as Lady Mist. Mhm. Mm. I like I like how he gets these quotes totally wrong
Yeah.
throughout the movie.
When this first came out, I didn't know who Mumbles was. Oh, that's Dustin Hoffman. It's like, oh.
Mhm. Oh, oh. Mhm. Mhm. Yes, and Monopoly money. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Interrogation with mumbles.
it's like, what the hell is he saying?
I remember this movie came out the year I was beginning my senior year in high school,
Mm.
and when it came out, I think in like June of that year, I got a job at Red Lobster as a dishwasher.
Cool. What?
He's busy being encased in cement. My name is Indian Matoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
I'm always on mine. Can't sleep? Well, may as well go back to the office. No. And he just turned 100, didn't he, Dick Van Dyke? Like recently? I'm walking here. When do we eat?
Kid's got a healthy appetite.
Yes, he does.
Exactly like he's never eaten before. I liked in this film that it's taking place in what, like the 30s. I think
Hmm.
prohibition still might be going on in this timeline.
Hmm.
And what I find uh, kind of neat is, first of all, the villains are all whimsical with the makeup, and then it's like to make ugly, and then the color scheme. I mean, it's got some weird choice of colors, even
Well, it's all
the buildings.
primary colors. Yeah. Look out.
He's an eager youngster, isn't he?
Just a step in the right direction.
That's gonna make the champagne taste funny. Current timestamp is 31:24. So you can do a little two-step. That comb over ain't pulling nobody.
Yeah.
'Why is he scratching? Does he have fleas? I wonder.
I don't think it's ever technically explained.
"30 seconds, no more dick. 30 seconds, no more dick." Oh,
Slater, I think.
is that what's his name? Is the
Yep.
cameo?
James Caan as
Yeah.
Spardoni. Yeah. Michael and Sonny back together. Sadly, not for too long.
Was he credited or uncredited? I wonder.
I think he is. I don't remember. Whoops. And he actually did this where he jumped from the ledge onto the light pole to the cart. He actually almost knocked himself out there on the light pole. No, no, no. You were not in Peppermint. That was Jennifer Garner.
I'd be very concerned about the person on the other side of that door, that voice.
Yeah. Hmm.
And watch out, he might be walking here. He might be walking here.
And apparently also Judge Dredd.
Yeah. 30 seconds, no more dick. 30 seconds, no more dick.
More dick, 30
30
seconds.
seconds, no more dick. She's gonna blow. What's the matter with the kid, man?
And of course, it's the DA. Because apparently he's the only detective in the city. Or the only detective in the city. He's also the director of the film. He's also dating his co-star.
Yeah. Well, Madonna was still a household name and relative back then.
Hmm. You're like what, 8?
Right. Go back to playing the music. I don't think that's gonna work. Got a barrel full of cement. My name is Ike Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Yeah, give him some cop food.
Yeah, he's another one who started out as a song and dance man, a Broadway actor.
Current time temp is 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 21 seconds.
Estelle Parsons, who some of you might remember was Roseanne Barr's mother on her TV show, and was also in Bonnie and Clyde with Warren Beatty. Meanwhile, Tracy at his desk. Okay. He doesn't make money. He's a cop. And Dick Van Dyke is the Penguin. Wait. Walking headlong into danger. Child? No child around here, lady. What about him? Him? Nah, he's just short. Actually, not old.
This is Tessa's greenhouse. Oh, he might have been drugged. Oh, yeah.
Good night, Irene.
Look at the flowers. Look at the pretty flowers.
Look at the flowers, baby. Mm.
Ugh.
Now he's not eating.
Yeah, he won't be asking for more.
Kablam.
He's an imposter.
Hmm. Oh, crap. And welcome to Shiva's My Savior. Welcome to the show. We are about 70 minutes into Dick Tracy. The Cosme link is at the top of the chat if you'd like to join us in watching the film. And this is when the kid picks a name.
Hmm.
Poor guy. Wait a minute. Like, you got nothing, Kappa. Yeah, they'll save me. They'll tell me.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was a bumbling there, wasn't he?
Oh. Batman.
Is that Bobby Duvall?
Who?
Robert Duvall.
Mhm. Mine.
I should just like going through glass. Not a scratch on him.
Here we go. It was awkward. It was so awkward. Well, you know Natalie would, but I
Yeah.
don't. I can't really.
I want some wine. Where's that Victor?
I haven't had thought. Oh yes. It's gone. Oh,
Hate it when that happens.
Jesus. He's like, oh God, kill me already. I did not kidnap you before. I'm kidnapping you now. But
when a person has to say it over and over again, probably a lie.
Hmm. How did she pull this off exactly? I don't know. Why did she do it? I don't know that either. But here we are. Well, only until I saw the grifters. Oh, this was always difficult for him, wasn't it? Right.
Always with the yellow fedora and the yellow jacket.
Yeah, think about it.
I like it. All right. That was Dick Tracy from 1990. Do we have any scrolls?
All right. Dick Tracy was released at June 15th, 1990, at an estimated budget of $47 million, going on to gross more than $162 million worldwide. It was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, winning 3: art direction, makeup, and best original song for Sooner or Later, I Always Get My Man. It was also nominated for cinematography, costume design, sound, and Al Pacino was nominated for supporting actor. He was also nominated that same year for The Godfather Part 3, and would 2 years later go on to also be nominated twice in 1 year, again in the same categories. Supporting actor for Glengarry Glen Ross, and finally winning Best Actor for Son of a Woman. Let's see. The film was nominated for 4 2011-2020 awards. Best Original Song, Sooner or Later, Art Direction, Makeup, and Costume Design. Was nominated for 7 Saturn Awards, winning for Best Makeup. Was nominated for Best Fantasy Film, Costume design, Warren Beatty, Madonna, Al Pacino, and Charlie Cosmo are all also nominated. Al Pacino won the American Comedy Award for Funniest Supporting Actor in a Motion Picture. Was nominated for a American Society of Cinematographers ASC Award. Was nominated for 7 BAFTA Awards, winning for production design and makeup. Nominated for sound, visual effects, costume design, editing, and Al Pacino nominated for supporting actor. Danny Elfman won the BMI Film Music Award. Winner Best Cinematography at the Boston Society of Film Critics Awards. Nominated for an Artios Award from the CSA's Casting Society. Al Pacino was nominated for supporting actor from the Chicago Film Critics Association, as well as the Dallas-Fort Worth Film Critics Association Awards, which also nominated the cinematography. There were 4 Golden Globe nominations. Al Pacino, supporting actor. Best Picture, comedy or musical. And 2 original song nominations for Sooner or Later and What Can You Lose? 3 Grammy nominations. For Danny Elfman's score, and 2 for Stephen Sondheim for Sooner or Later and More. Warren Beatty won Best Foreign Director, the Silver Ribbon Award from the Italian National Syndicate of Film Journalists. Al Pacino was nominated for Best Supporting Actor from the National Society of Film Critics. Nominated for 2 Young Artist Awards, Best Young Actor in a Motion Picture, Charlie Cosmo, and Most Entertaining Family Youth Motion Picture Comedy or Horror. Nominated from the British Society of Cinematographers, and nominated for the Movie Music UK Awards. All right. Filming locations. Universal Studios for the for New York street scenes. Warner Brothers Burbank Studios. And the Los Angeles Soap Company. 500 block of Banning Street, downtown Los Angeles, California. Tracy chases the kid through the industrial area. Thought the scene is highly matte painted. The buildings are still present. This was the site of the Los Angeles Soap Company, makers of the White King label of products built in the early 1900s. The site was on its last legs in the late 1980s to early 1990s, with demolition finalizing by 1992. Downtown Los Angeles used to have an extensive network of industrial sidings radiating off of Alameda Street, as well as parallel Santa Fe lines a few blocks to the east. The specific site was Santa Fe trackage on Banning Street, looking into the industrial entrance to the big White King Soap factory. Today, this stretch of Banning Street and all of the buildings, as well as tracks, are completely gone between Viginus and Alameda. Filming lasted for 85 days, beginning on February 1st, 1989, ending 28th, 1989. All right. The main characters of the film are the six the original comic strip appeared in: red, blue, yellow, green, orange, purple, plus black and white. The garage shooting that opens the movie was inspired by the St. Valentine's Day massacre, in which Al Capone's gunmen killed a group of rival hoods in a garage. In the Dick Tracy comics, Alphonse Big Boy Caprice was originally inspired by Alphonse Al Capone. As a tie-in with the movie, Walt Disney Comics released Dick Tracy, the Tommy Guns and True Hearts trilogy, which explained the backstory leading up to this movie, with this movie's plot used as the third installment. The villains in this film have an infrastructure. Big Boy is the boss of Flat Top and Itchy. Lips Manless is the boss of the 5 card-playing villains in the beginning. Unlike the comic, where villains each arose and fought Tracy one by one, in a fashion largely independent of each other with no hierarchy. Of all of the villains, Numbers, DeSanto, and Louis DeLaus are the only ones created for the film. Dustin Hoffman played Mumbles as a favor for Warren Beatty. The 5 villains in playing cards in the beginning are Stooge, Shoulders, the Rodent, the Brow, and the Little Face. The makeup used for all of the villains was based directly on how they were drawn by Chester Gould in the original comic strip. The only exception was Big Boy Caprice, whose makeup was designed by Al Pacino. The character of Steve the Tramp Brogan was a recurring character who eventually turned good. The story of the Tramp and the Kid in the movie comes straight out of the comic strip. Following the release of the 1990 film, Playmates Toys produced a series of action figures based on characters in the movie. Steve the Tramp action figures were pulled from the shelves after homeless advocacy groups complained that it was offensive to homeless people. Today, Steve the Tramp action figures are highly sought after collector's items. 21 villains from the Chester Gould comic strip appeared in the movie. Stooge Villiers, Shoulders Williams, the Rodent Wilson, originally Rodent, the Brow, Littleface Finney, Flat Top Jones, Jake Itchy Rossi, originally Itchell Oliver, Patricia Breathless Mahoney, 88 Keys, Lips Manless, Steve the Tramp Brogan, Alphonse Big Boy Caprice, Lorenzo Pruneface Prunesti, Mumbles, Texie Garcia, The Influence, Ribs Mocha, Ben Spud Spaldoni, Johnny Ram, and Blank Santos. During the makeup test, it is suggested that Warren Beatty be given the detective's famous hook nose, but after some initial tests, the makeup artists decided it would have been a crime to hide one of the Sinner's most famous pieces of behind putty and latex. The backup dancers and singers supporting Breathless Mahoney were all skilled Broadway performers who were taught how to intentionally sing poorly for comedic effect. Martin Scorsese signed on to direct in 1985 and wanted to make a serious film, in contrast to the recent tongue-in-cheek comics adaptations like Superman and Popeye. He eventually dropped out because Warren Beatty wouldn't give him final cut. Beatty then approached Bob Fosse, Hal Ashby, Sam Raimi, Brian De Palma, and the Coen brothers to direct, but they all declined. So he decided to direct it himself. Beatty said, "It never occurred to me to direct a movie, but finally, like most of the movies I direct, when the time comes to do it, I just do it because it's easier than going through what I'd have to go through to get someone else to do it." A 2-hour and 15-minute version of the film exists, as confirmed by Warren Beatty in a 2002 interview. He said Jeffrey Katzenberg, then chairman of Walt Disney Pictures, forced him to cut the film to an hour and 45 minutes before release. Al Pacino designed Big Boy Caprice's makeup. and completely reimagined the character who was originally big and fat in the comics with a little nose. Caprice's resulting film counterpart is of average height with enlarged hands, nose, and cheekbones, hence the street name. The movie was originally conceived in the early 1980s by United Artists and was to be written by Tom Mankiewicz, who had the movie's only villain, DeBlanc, with Flat Top Jones as the supporting villain in the side plot. Mankiewicz's idea for the start of the movie was to have a beaten-up cop who was on his deathbed having a police artist show his drawing of the killer without a face yet drawn. The beaten-up cop says, "That's him," and dies. Dick Tracy creator Chester Gould loved the idea and wanted him to do the script, but due to Gould's demands on the picture that no one could meet, the project was shelved. After Gould's death, the demands weren't as drastic from his family members, and the project was in development again. After some new attempts with other studios and directors, Warren Beatty purchased the rights and brought the project to Disney. And an earlier draft written by Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr. was rewritten by Bo Goldman, which became the final script. This is the highest grossing film of Warren Beatty's career. Danny Elfman was hired to compose the film score because Warren Beatty was impressed with his work on Batman. On working with Beatty, Elfman has said Warren was insane. Earlier in pre-production, Tim Burton was offered the chance to direct a movie, but declined because he was already in production with Edward Scissorhands. As a fan of the comic strip, Warren Beatty wanted to put in as many characters from the comics into the film as he could. This was a measure used by Beatty in case the film didn't have a sequel. Madonna was paid just $35,000 for her performance in this film. As a fan of the comic strip, Warren Beatty was initially offered a director's job. He signed on only if he could play Tracy. The producers, having trouble casting the lead role, happily complied with his wish. Robert De Niro and Jack Nicholson were offered the role of Dick Tracy. Nicholson was committed to playing the Joker in Batman, and De Niro refused the role for fear of being typecast as a grim, hard and tough guy similar to his Travis Bickle character in Taxi Driver. Kim Basinger, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Sharon Stone were considered for the role of Breathless Mahoney. Sean Young was originally cast as Tess Trueheart, but was fired after a few days of filming by Warren Beatty. Afterwards, Young publicly accused Beatty of firing her because she wouldn't sleep with him. Though Deborah Ruff, Charlie Corsimo's mom, later disputed this, saying the rumor was that she'd become too demanding and he just decided not to put up with it. Beatty issued a statement saying, "I made a mistake casting her for the part, and I felt very badly about it." After the incident with the blank in the South Side warehouse, Big Boy yells to his crew that he wants Tracy dead. Originally, that scene began with Breathless sarcastically saying, "Tracy really gets under your skin, doesn't he?" Before Big Boy starts yelling, but that line was cut. However, Breathless's line appeared in the theatrical trailer and in some television airings of the film. Makeup designer John Caglione Jr.'s final design of Big Boy Caprice matches the intended design conceived by Al Pacino. Since then, Caglione became Pacino's personal makeup man on all of his films. Although not involved in the production, Art Linson and Floyd Matrix are credited as co-producers. They were responsible for purchasing the rights first. After the release of the film, Linson and Matrix launched a lawsuit against Warren Beatty, alleging that they were owed profit participation from the film. This lawsuit prevented Beatty from producing another film for 2 years, but the case was eventually settled out of court. The animated Roger Rabbit short Roller Coaster Rabbit was released theatrically with this movie. Recommended by costume designer Milena Canonero, Warren Beatty hired John Caglione Jr. and Doug Drexler as the makeup designers. Caglione and Drexler jokingly suggested Ronald Reagan for the role of Pruneface, but Warren Beatty opted for R.G. Armstrong as he had worked with him on Heaven Can Wait and Reds. However, Pruneface's ruddy cheeks and liver spots were added as an homage to Reagan by Caglione and Drexler. Estelle Parsons, Michael J. Pollard, and Warren Beatty appeared in Bonnie and Clyde. Warren Beatty hired acclaimed songwriter Stephen Sondheim to write Sooner or Later More, What Can You Lose, Live Alone and Like It, Back in Business for Breathless Mahoney to sing in the film. In an article in Entertainment Weekly about the makeup used for the movie, R.G. Armstrong said his face was covered with a gelatinous material called alginate, which is similar to the stuff dentists use for impressions of teeth to make a life mask for prune face. Then the makeup artist sculpted prune face wrinkle mud over the life mask to form a second mold, from which foam latex facial parts known as appliances were cast. The appliances were attached to Armstrong's face in several sections, and the makeup session would take up to 3 hours. When asked what he'd do, and the makeup artist would put on his spoon face makeup, Armstrong said, "I go to sleep." Dustin Hoffman wore a bald cap and wig, rubber eyelids, rubber lips, and a rubber chin to play Mumbles. When Hoffman was in the makeup chair having his makeup applied, he used that time to practice his lines for his role as Shylock in the London and Broadway productions of The Merchant of Venice. Makeup artist John Caglione Jr. commented about Hoffman in an interview to Entertainment Weekly, "We had a real drama class. He was riotous." Though Al Pacino had his own slick down hairstyle, the makeup artist had to add a fake chin, nose, and upper lip, a mole on his cheek, and a place behind his ears to make him stick out in order to turn him into Big Boy. Caglione and Wexler said they often had trouble keeping the Big Boy Caprice makeup on Al Pacino. Caglione told Entertainment Weekly that their biggest scare came when Drexler discovered Al Pacino in full makeup eating a bowl of spaghetti that would have potentially disfigured his makeup. After that incident, several production assistants were assigned as MPs or makeup police to follow the actors around to keep them out of pasta when in full makeup. Caglione and Drexler said in an interview with Entertainment Weekly that they treated the original looks for Chester Gould's comic strip as their Bible for the villain's makeup, because the screenplay for this movie didn't include any physical descriptions of the mobsters. The only exceptions were for the self-defining villains such as the rodent in the brow. Macaulay Culkin was considered for the role of the kid, but turned it down to do Home Alone. For the film's nationwide midnight premiere, moviegoers had to produce T-shirts at the theater in advance, imprinted with admit one ticket. With an admit one ticket, the T-shirt had to be presented to gain admission. No tickets were to be sold at the premiere showing, but some theaters cheated and sold tickets that evening. According to his autobiography, comedian Gilbert Gottfried was nearly cast in the role of Mumbles, based on his distinctive voice. He was perplexed that he and Dustin Hoffman would even be considered for the same role, joking, "The only way our names would appear together in the same Hollywood conversation would be in the sentence, 'I've seen Gilbert Gottfried's acting, and he's now Dustin Hoffman.'" James Caan, Harrison Ford, Richard Gere, Mel Gibson, Paul Newman, Robert Redford, George C. Scott, and Tom Selleck are all considered for the role of Dick Tracy. Warren Beatty considered appearing in and even directing Misery, but chose to do this film instead. Walter Hill was set to direct during pre-production, but he left after disagreements with the studio and Warren Beatty. Richard Benjamin was also set to direct, but left to direct City Heat. Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman starred in Ishtar, a mashup flop that was just as expensive and yielded the same box office results as Heaven's Gate. Al Pacino initially declined credit for the film and wanted to work under a pseudonym. The Top Souvenir magazine credits his role to Guido Frescati. When Big Boy shows Dick Tracy the Club Ritz deed of sale, it lists Big Boy's address as Big Boy Caprice, Gratitude Street, Homeville, with no state or zip code. It also shows the date of transfer as December 1938. Most of the boss of villains debuted in Chester Gould's comic strip in the 1930s, including Big Boy, Lips Manless, Johnny Ram, Spud Spaldoni, and Texie Garcia. Most of the film's more grotesque higher hitman villains such as Flat Top, Itchy the Brown Shoulders debuted in the 1940s or later. This was the last theatrically released feature film to include Mike Mazurki. He played Splitface. This film was originally slated as a Walt Disney Pictures release, was deemed too racy, and passed on to Disney's Touchstone Pictures subsidiary. Gene Hackman turned down the role of Los Manlis because he couldn't bear being directed by Warren Beatty again after his experience on Reds.
Oh.
Mandy Patinkin and Madonna have a duet in the movie. Madonna played the title role in Evita. Patinkin played Shay in the stage version. Samantha Fox auditioned for the role of Breathless Mahoney. I wouldn't have minded that either, honestly. The Gangster's Boardroom scene features an on-screen reunion between Al Pacino and James Caan, who played the Corleone brothers in The Godfather. Dick Tracy was previously the subject of the on-air television pilot Dick Tracy, inspired by the success of Batman. This film piggybacked on the successes of Batman. Ironically, Bob Kane cited the Dick Tracy comic strip as a huge influence in his initial creation of Batman as a comics character. I'm just reading what it says, folks. Listen to this. All right. The film went through a very long development process with many incarnations, including a musical version in the early 1970s with Sonny Bono as Dick Tracy and Cher as Tess Hart. I can't with this. Sonny is Dick Tracy. Okay. Yeah, I can see why that didn't quite happen. And Ryan O'Neal also sought to play Tracy in the early 1980s. I can actually see that. The film cast includes 5 Oscar winners: Warren Beatty, Al Pacino, Dustin Hoffman, Estelle Parsons, and Kathy Bates, and 4 nominees: James Caan, Charles Durning, Seymour Cassell, and Michael J. Pollard. Warren Beatty appeared in Bonnie and Clyde. His violent death at the end of that film was the model for Sonny Corleone's death in The Godfather. Pacino and Caan were nominated for Best Actor in a Supporting Role for their performances in The Godfather. Pacino received another nomination for Best Actor in a Supporting Role for this film, competing with his Godfather Part 3 castmate Andy Garcia, who played Caan's son. They ended up losing to Joe Pesci for another gangster picture, Goodfellas. This is one of the last films to be made with paintings as backgrounds. Computer graphics, imagery, CGI, saves a lot of time and money, but the camera must remain still. Warren Beatty warned his camera people not to pan with the cameras or swivel to the left or right because that would make it obvious that the backgrounds were paintings. At one stage of the film's development, Steven Spielberg was offered the director's chair. Al Pacino has stated that Madonna flashed him during rehearsals for this movie, opening her coat to reveal that she was naked underneath. Pacino joked that when he is old and he is observed with a beatific smile on his face, it would be because he's recalling the incident. Madonna and Warren Beatty were dating in real life during filming. When he proposed to her, she stalled on the question of marriage. She ended their romance and claimed what he had given her was just a friendship ring. Yeah, nobody does that. All right, filming began on February 1st, 1989, and ended on April 27th, 1989, after 85 days of filming, using 53 interior sets and 25 exterior sets. The production employed 305 cast, crew, post-production personnel. Post-production took almost a year. The comic strip started in the Chicago Tribune on October 1931. Original name was going to be Plainclothes Tracy, but the publisher changed it to Dick Tracy. The comic strip gave birth to the radio series in the 1930s, a series of films in the 1940s, and a large range of merchandise, including badges bearing Tracy's square jaw, dolls, games, toy guns. Okay. Two-way wrist radios and books. When Tracy leaps off the side of the building onto a lamppost, he smashes his face into the pole. Years later, Warren Beatty was asked if he felt bad for the stunt person injuring himself. Beatty responded, "That was me." um, this is the final film of actor Ian Wolfe. He was 93 years old at the time of filming. Disney's first film based on a comic strip or a comic book. Stephen Sondheim was unable to receive his Best Song Academy Award for Sooner or Later due to a broken ankle. A week after the Oscars sent him a full-size chocolate Oscar statue, which ironically enough arrived with one leg broken. Sondheim later commented this meant either the producers or the United States Postal Service had a sense of humor. Created in 1931, Alphonse Big Boy Caprice is based on real-life mobster Al Capone. Al Pacino played the titular role in Scarface, which was a remake of the film Scarface from 1932, a movie loosely based on Capone's life using the gangster's nickname. Pacino has stated in interviews that he enjoyed working on this film, saying that Warren Beatty made, quote, a wonderful artistic film, even though now it's like it doesn't even exist, alluding to the notion that it is a movie that is barely talked about after all these years. This movie is something of a reunion for cast members of Bonnie and Clyde. Warren Beatty played Clyde Barrow, Michael J. Pollard played C.W. Moss, and Estelle Parsons played Blanche Barrow. During the final gunfight at the Club Ritz, Dick Tracy shoots out a getaway car's tire, forcing it to tumble onto its side and crash. In Bonnie and Clyde, during the tourist court shootout, Clyde shoots out the tire of a police car, forcing it to tumble on its side and crash. The film holds the record for most Oscar wins for a newspaper strip-based film, with 3 wins. This is the first of a handful of films released with the cinema, a cinema digital sound (CDS) soundtrack. It was the first true digitally encoded format on a series of separate CD-ROMs to be played by a multi-CD drive linked to a computer. The system was in use until 1992, then dropped due to reliability issues. All right. Of the 5 films he directed, this is the only one Warren Beatty didn't write, although he did make uncredited script revisions with the help of Bo Goldman. During the Back in Business montage of Big Boy's goons terrorizing the city, there's a scene of a hoodlum shooting an overweight cop by a fruit stand. This may be an allusion to the Dick Tracy show, cartoons from the 1960s, which featured an overweight cop named Heap O'Calorie, whose introduction scenes always began with Heap getting his 2A radio instructions from Tracy while standing near a fruit stand where he's always stealing an apple. Dick Tracy's comics are set in an unnamed city based on Chicago, and the Chicago Tribune was the first paper to distribute it. In the movie, the map painting of the cityscape is clearly a conglomeration of Chicago and New York City circa the 1930s, with recognizable buildings from both cities. This is the only time that Al Pacino and Dustin Hoffman have appeared in the same movie. Dustin Hoffman took at least 2 films that were originally offered to Pacino. Hoffman took both Lenny and Marathon Man, which Pacino declined. Warren Beatty, in character as Dick Tracy, participated in the Dick Tracy special, an interview with Leonard Maltin that aired as a half-hour TV special on TCM. This was produced by Beatty as a means for retaining the rights to the character. So if you ever wondered why there was never another Dick Tracy movie, got to talk to Warren Beatty, guys.
He's too old to play the role now.
Excuse me. Take a sip of water. Read a few more of these. Warren Beatty was personally bought the film and television rights to Dick Tracy for $3 million in 1985. He has since retained them to this day. Both the comic book version of Tess Trueheart and the actress who plays her, Glenn Headley, are blonde. However, it was decided to make Tess a redhead to act as a contrast to the blonde Breathless Mahoney. film holds the record for most Academy Award wins for a comic book film, a record tied by Black Panther. It has also held the record for most nominations, 7, until it was surpassed by The Dark Knight with 8, which itself was surpassed by Joker with 11. Although Dustin Hoffman's appearance as Mumbles was no secret, both Entertainment Weekly and People magazine featured his image in articles and contemporary issues, he was omitted from most of the official memorabilia. He did get a Playmates action figure, and he appeared in the True Hearts and Tommy Guns books by Moore and Baker, as well as the tie-in Golden books. However, unlike the other prominent villains, he was occasionally mentioned but did not appear in the video games, trading cards, Top Souvenir magazine, McDonald's promotion, or any other memorabilia that would have used Dustin Hoffman's likeness. The Saccone Beatty engagement was first reported in the National Enquirer in its June 20th, 1989 issue. Dick Tracy's two-way wrist radio first appeared in the comic strip. The watch actually worked. The radio didn't. And it was manufactured by Ian Campbell, a jeweler from Santa Clarita, California. Prop master C.J. McGuire had a set of 10 on hand for the filming. The only difference between the film version and the comic version was the wrist antenna, which ran up Tracy's sleeve in the comics, but was omitted for the movie. Dick Tracy's badge was modeled after Chicago police badges of the 1930s and made generic for the film. The many sexy costumes worn by Madonna throughout the production earned this film the nickname Dick Tracy in some corners of the press. One of the last films to use matte paintings to create large environments, too large for a studio set or location photography. This was also matte painter Peter Ellenshaw's last film. He came out of retirement to work with his son, Harrison Ellenshaw. This was the third comic book movie nominated for the Grammy Award for Best Score Soundtrack for Visual Media after Superman and Batman, the latter of which was also scored by Danny Elfman. Of these three, only Superman won. Madonna's next film, in which she was going to co-star after Dick Tracy, was an action buddy cop film titled Lita and Swan. She and Demi Moore were both big friends in real life, and were going to play partners in the film, which was going to be directed by Joel Schumacher. It was first announced in December 1990, 2 months after Moore's previous film Ghost became a massive success, and a month after Flatliners, Schumacher's previous film and another big hit of that summer, was released. Described as a female version of Lethal Weapon, the film was in development at Warner Brothers and was going to be produced by Joel Silver, who also produced all of the Lethal Weapon films and another action buddy hit, 48 Hours. The filming was planned for fall of 1991. Due to Moore's pregnancy and with the release in summer of 1992, Silver and others were so enthusiastic about the project that they already planned it for it to have 2 sequels. However, Lita and Swan was never made. One of the hardest characters for the makeup artist to create was Little Face Finney, one of the hoodlums killed in the garage shootout at the beginning. In the comics, the character has a normal-sized head with a face no bigger than the average adult nose. A child was cast as Finney, then fitted into an oversized body and made-up head. His voice was dubbed in the film, and the cutaway shots from the back were done with an adult actor, Lawrence Stephen Myers. Dick Van Dyke, who only worked on the film for 3 days, broke his shoulder when he was shooting the scene where his character is murdered by the blank. That take was the one that was used in the film. Right before the 5 villains at the poker game are killed, the Brow gets 2 pair, aces and 8s. This is widely known as a dead man's hand. Since famous Sheriff Wild Bill Hickok of Deadwood, South Dakota, was holding it when he was shot and killed in 1876. Mystery writer Max Allan Collins, who began his career writing scripts for the Dick Tracy comics in the 1970s and 80s, wrote the movie tie-in novel. He wrote 2 endings for the novels to prevent spoiling the plot. He wrote 2 endings for the novels to prevent spoiling the plot. The books released before the movie did not feature the revelation that the blank was actually Breathless Mahoney. The novels released after the film featured this reveal. Collins also wrote a direct sequel to the movie called Dick Tracy Goes to War. In the novel, Nazi spies, including Pruneface's widow, take over Big Boy's Club Ritz and use it as a base for sabotage operations. Tracy, now working for military intelligence, battles the spies who are using mobsters like BBI's Shaky, who's Breathless's dad in the comics, and the Mole as Muscle. Final body count 27. Because I got up and I missed the cop by the fruit stand getting shot. When Playmates Toys released action figures as a tie-in, the blank action figure could be unmasked, revealing that he was really Breathless. The figure was pulled from store shelves in the United States to avoid spoiling the ending of the film, but was still available in Canada. Because of this, the blank action figure is highly sought after by collectors. In the comic book version, when Breathless is dying, she asks Tracy if it could ever really happen between them, and he replies, "It came darn close." Big Boy shares similarities to the Joker and Batman, which had been released 1 year earlier. Both are ruthless gangsters who liken themselves to artists and intellectuals. Both claim that a powerful mob boss signed all of their operations over to them when they had killed said mob boss and taken their blonde girlfriend as their own. Both have an affinity for wearing purple and green. Both have a climactic battle with the hero and meet their ends by being dropped from or falling from a great height. Connections to The Godfather. In the mob summit meeting at the Club Ritz, Al Pacino, played Big Boy, plays Michael Corleone. James Caan played Sonny Corleone, plays Spaldoni. Saracen. There is another more subtle connection to the movie. In The Godfather, a well-known visual cue is where a murder cue before a murder is when oranges are around. One of Big Boy's habits is to eat walnuts. There are scenes where walnuts are present when he is either killing or ordering the killing of someone. In the boardroom scene, just before Spaldoni is killed, Big Boy can be seen playing with a tray of walnuts. In his autobiography, Al Pacino explains that during the final act in which Big Boy is fleeing Tracy with his true heart, Warren Beatty told him to ad-lib all of his lines at will. with Pacino's personal favorite quip being, "Can't you see I love you?" Okay. And hello to Joe's Atmosphere. Good to see you, sir.
Yep.
I saved this one for last because it is freaking long.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I almost skipped this. All right. During a 2000 interview with Ned Rorem at the 92nd Street Young Men's and Women's Hebrew Association, Stephen Sondheim told his story about Madonna's recording session for the song Sondheim wrote for Dick Tracy. Rorem asked, somewhat facetiously, "What's Madonna really like?" And Sondheim replied seriously, "Well, I only have the one experience with her, but I can tell you something interesting. When we recorded the song, she did something I've never known another singer to do. She would not sing. This is when she was singing her solos. When she was doing the duets with Mandy, she would be out in the studio, but when she sang her solos, she sang them in the control room. She wanted to be attached almost umbilically by wire to the engineer. And so you have to think, she's got a microphone in the control room. You, the other people there can't make any noise whatsoever. The whole point, of course, of a studio is that it's a controlled silence. So the orchestra and the singer can perform without any aural distractions or scratches or whatever. But she insisted on singing in the control room with the lights dimmed to almost certainly less than half. And the whole thing was kind of a womb-like feeling. She was standing right next to the engineer. The microphone was up in front of her. I was sitting there. Ordinarily, I sit there with the pad and take notes on things I want the singer to do on the second take. But I realized that the sound of the pencil on the paper, no matter how lightly I wrote, would probably kill the recording. So I had to keep thinking, all right, I got to remember, that's a D flat, not a D. It's D, not A. Okay, D flat, the A. Okay, I want a faster tempo. The D flat. I'm right. I'm saying this as he's saying it, guys. The faster tempo. Don't pause. D flat, the. Then I found out she would only do 2 takes. See, unlike Barbara Streisand, with whom I've also worked, Barbara Streisand likes to do 103 takes. And then I select note 1 from take 6 and note. Madonna doesn't want to. She won't even bother. She wants to do it. And I don't think she even claims it's about spontaneity. She just gets irritated and bored when choosing between 2 take sections. I could see her getting increasingly irritated and she has no patience. Barbara has nothing but patience. Very interesting. And that is all the scrolls. And I'm going to be quiet for a minute.
Okay. All right. Well, next week we come back for another action theater. And we'll be playing Sin City. Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis, Jessica Alba.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's what we'll come back for next week. Same action channel, same deleted scenes channel.
Yep.
Western cinema coming up Sunday. The Apple Dumpling Gang returns. Tim Conway, Don Knotts. So, do consider joining us for that one. As I always say on these, at the end of these, thank you all for coming. And always, always be excellent to one another. Party on. And we'll see you at the next one.
All right. And I would once again like to thank Bill for allowing me to be the sidekick again for this program.
Yeah.
I will, of course, be in the same spot, also as the sidekick for Western Cinema Presents. I do also want to announce that Bill is going to be my guest this week.
Mm-hmm.
On my program Reserved Seats, which is also Sunday night. That's going to be at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
I also want to remind everybody my program Coming Attractions later on this evening, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, where you get to find out everything I am going to be up to on YouTube for the next week. And as I always say, at the end of every broadcast, I want to thank everybody who joined us in the live chat, both on YouTube and on Cosme. I know that at one point we had over 70 people watching. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Even if it was only for a few moments, I hope you enjoyed the show. Hit the like, share out the stream. And as I always say, from HQ, our second home office in Arizona, and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond. Good night. Take care. Stay strong. Be safe and healthy, because this is how we win. Also, don't kidnap Tess Trueheart. There will be much bloodshed.